G'day, Bomber fans. That went pretty much exactly how we thought it would go. The Bombers were belted by a much better Bulldogs outfit. There were more injuries as well. Senior players stunk it up. Some kids looked lost. It was, I think this is just probably how we're going to look for the rest of the year, to be honest. The queue is well and truly in the rack. So, let's talk about this game. Leave your votes in the comments below. Quarter by quarter recap. The first, it started straight away. The Dogs waltzed out of a centre bounce, found a target inside 50 and kicked a goal in the first 30 or so seconds. And that was as close as the game was for the rest of the night. Norton and Darcy were causing all sorts of headaches. The Dogs had the first 5 goals of the game, and like it was last week, Liam McMahon was the one who got us started. He kicked both of our goals in the first. At quarter time, it was 14-41. Nice symmetry with the scoreline, but that's the only thing that looked good about it. The second didn't get much better. I thought we defended the ground better. We kept them down for large parts of the quarter, but their class was just too much to keep down for half an hour. They kicked 4 goals. We didn't kick any. It was 17-65 at halftime. Norton and Darcy had 7 goals combined at the half. We actually finished on 7 as a team at full time. The third, this is kind of where I lost interest in the game a little bit and was thinking about other things. We did get some nice highlights. Kako got a goal, Caddy got a goal, but the Dogs managed to get 7 on us. I was well and truly on 100-point watch at this stage. It was 30-109, not fun. And full time, it was a valiant effort and the Bombers managed to get it done. The crowd was going wild. We ran down the clock and avoided the 100-point loss. It was 50-143 at the end, a 93-point loss. Our third 90-point loss of the season, our second against the Dogs this year. And if we're going to get smashed by any team, at least it's the Bulldogs. Like, if it was Carlton or Collingwood doing the damage, it would be not fun. I guess that's the one positive to take from this game. At least it was the Bulldogs. So let's talk about this brilliant game of footy. All right, well, I guess it's safe to say that the Dogs were the better team on the night. And it's a funny game. Like, you can never really be taken seriously if you say that there are positives or that we matched it with our opponent with a loss like this. I feel like we did match it with them in certain aspects though. I thought, and I did think the margin looked worse than it should have been. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I thought we got some really soft free kicks against us. Our conversion was really poor. I think their conversion was really good. 93 points feels a bit too high, whereas last time we played the Dogs, 91 felt too low. I don't know, maybe it's just evening out. Maybe that's the way I saw this game because low expectations, but I feel like we did match it with them in certain aspects. I thought the first quarter was looking ugly, but then the midfield battle was actually not as one-sided as I thought it would be as the game went along. Even with McGrath and Shield running through it as much as they did, guys that aren't midfielders for the future. I thought at the contest things were pretty even. I thought the Dogs were classier and cleaner with their contest work, but the initial work that we did in close and personal wasn't bad. -5 clearances, -7 contested possessions, just numbers, but I thought those numbers would be far worse. We did have the ball inside our 50 a fair bit, 10 less than the Dogs, but in the end, the Dogs are just such a punishing team. It's so annoying. Their ball use going forward really is hard to contain if you don't have a good team defense, which we don't at the moment. It was a pretty frustrating game to watch because I saw the initial effort at the contest. I saw the boys trying and at times getting the ball forward, but there just wasn't enough there for us to really do anything with our territory. And then on the flip side, the Dogs just killed us. 18 marks inside 50. 126 marks for the game, 17 contested marks. Sam Darcy on his own had 5 contested marks. Essendon as a team had 7. So him and Norton were having fun out there on defenders they shouldn't be playing on. 13 goals between them for the game. Look, there was just a lot we couldn't control in this game. Like, we do have to acknowledge that. And I know I sound like a broken record talking about the controllables and the uncontrollables. But if you think injuries didn't play a part in the result being this bad, I don't know what to tell you. I can't tell you anything. You could point at all 3 zones and talk about how crap they are because of personnel, but I don't know. It felt like even with that clear differential, there was still a lot the Bombers were doing wrong. So I think Sam Darcy taking contested marks over Laverty, that is uncontrollable. I thought the Dogs had maybe 6 or 7 goals that we just couldn't contain because, Darcy was playing on someone half his size. I thought the Dogs, even them winning it out of the midfield, Bontempelli bullying smaller bodies, I don't care as much about that, seeing that happen. But, there was some deflating footy out there, like proper deflating. The Dogs were on, but there were some moments in this game which it just makes it impossible to enjoy. And I'm going to name names a bit later in this video because there are a few guys that I don't know where they are. But, and I guess that's the good thing about this period. We're exposing flaws in some players' games, and hopefully Rosa acts on that. But yeah, there was some ugly footy, a really lackluster connection. That is fair given the circumstances to an extent, but it is hard to really say that personnel was the thing that lost this game by this much. I think, unfortunately, it was a combination of a very young, inexperienced, raw footy side playing badly against a really good side who preys on vulnerable teams. I think everything kind of went wrong. And what you get from that is an absolute belting. I think even if we were at our best, we probably still, just on paper, we lose that game by 30 or 40 points. But because we were, so poor, it was a bad night. I wasn't surprised. I thought our effort could have been better, but if you're blaming the game on effort and intent, I don't think it's about that. I thought we kept going till the end. It was just a breakdown in the end, defensively, offensively. I just thought we were completely outplayed. I guess that brings us to another discussion, and this is something that I was chatting with Fiona about last night on Bomber Banter. And it's a good discussion for a game like this, because it's centered around, game plan and whether or not trying to implement a sustainable brand for the future is the right thing to do with such an uncompetitive playing group. The Bombers are trying to move the footy forward. There's no more backwards, sideways chipping. We're progressing the ball. We're playing on hand pass receives, often to our detriment. And what it does, it makes it easier for teams to move the ball when they intercept. So we're probably conceding quite a few more goals playing like this. And that's what happened the last time we played the Bulldogs. It kind of gives more space to the oval when we play like this, and when we're chipping around, it's easier to defend. The Dogs exploited this the way we were playing. I think most teams would have. It felt like nothing was working. So the question is, should the Bombers adopt a more simplistic approach to end the year, strip it back to make the current results slightly better and make it easier for the raw players who don't know how to play certain styles of footy, I guess, easier for them? Or do we bite the bullet, embrace the pain, and continue to try and teach kids to play footy the way we want to be playing in 2 to 3 years' time when we've got better players suited for that game style? And I personally think the latter. And also, I think the criticisms around the game plan and Scott, I don't think it's the game plan that's failing. I think it's the game plan, I guess, for where we're at. We're trying to win games of footy, and we're trying to play sustainable footy and not, go back to that boring chip mark method, which might, bring the margin down by 20 or 30 points. It might look better on paper. I think what we're doing now, I'd rather us lose by 80 or 90 and try to play proper good footy instead of just playing for the scoreboard. Losing by 40 or 50 and playing boring, backwards, safe footy. I don't think that's going to help us develop as a team, but I don't know. I think that's why it's an interesting discussion. Do we strip it back? Do we make it easier for the next few weeks, while we round this season out? Or do we try and teach these kids how to play the footy we want to be playing in the future? That's my question to you guys. All right, let's get negative. Let's look at some guys who, maybe could have been a bit better. And I don't know, Jade Gresham. Like, what do we do about this? There's no trade value anymore. He's contracted. I just hope that we're not giving him game time next year because we feel like we have to. I get why we are now, because we're so young and we don't really have many options. Like, if you bring Menzie in for Gresham, our forward line is Kako, Smart, and Menzie. That doesn't really... I guess Guelphy too, but he's another one. I don't know. For a senior player, I thought most of our senior players were okay. I thought Redmond, Merritt, Shield, McGrath, none were really great, but none were floating. And then you look at Gresham, and even Perkins, a bit younger, but yeah, there's just guys who we don't know what's going to happen with them. We're building for the future, and I think it's good that we're seeing flaws in these guys' games. But yeah, you guys with Perkins, I've been pretty big on trying to get the most out of him, but the more I see of him, it is making it harder for me to persist with, or I guess care about persisting with. And even guys like Lawal and Johnson and Smart and Clark, they were all poor. They're young and raw. That's expected. But at least we see effort. I see so much effort from Clark, effort from Lawal. Lawal is nowhere near a ready-made footballer, but the effort he gives it bridges the gap between him and Gresham, and that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be having Gresham and Lawal on the same range. I don't see effort from a few of our boys, and it's annoying because we don't have much experience. And then on top of that, some of the experienced players just don't do enough. And don't demonstrate leadership in the process. I don't know. I know everyone hates McGrath and Redmond, and Merritt's copying it a bit this year, but at least those blokes try. I just don't feel like that when I'm watching Gresham. I don't feel like that when I'm watching Perkins sometimes. I've been pretty big on the club keeping Perkins to get the most out of him, but there are guys in the VFL, not a great example, but Jaden Newen, all right? I don't think he's necessarily ready to play, but at least if he did, he would come in and show proper heart. This guy is... I tweeted out he's the toughest on our list. I think I don't feel like that watching Jade Gresham or Perkins. I don't know. I just hope the club finds ways to give us more list spots by maybe ridding some of these fair weather footballers a bit, because it is hard to watch a team of kids who are trying so hard, be led in part by guys who just aren't leaders. Look, all in all, really tough night. It was a really tough watch. It was expected. Like, I knew this was going to happen at some stage. I think it probably happens again once or twice. Like, our team is not looking like a team at the moment, and there are reasons for that. But it would be good to see us really, show something to end the year at some stage. I'm not too worried about the future. Like, this is happening with Richmond too. Everyone who's saying that Richmond are ahead of us in terms of a rebuild, their percentage is worse. They've got less wins. We're in the same boat. This just happens with rebuilding teams. Hopefully, to round out the year, it doesn't happen too much more, because that could really kill the morale. I think what we need is a win. We need to see another game where, the kids show more signs. We need the leaders to bloody lift. Like, not all of them. Some of them are playing good footy at the moment, but there are some, as I said before, who are just, really frustrating at the moment. Yeah, I think we need to remember why this loss was as bad as it was. Like, we're clearly a team of boys playing against men. That is the way I saw it. And it's pretty clear that the main issues, with personnel that we had were players that are hopefully going to be shopped around or aren't big parts of our future. This wasn't, the kids stinking it up like it was against Richmond. This was, I could point to so many players who I don't think are really there in the future, who just weren't good enough last night. And then I guess you go down and look at, Jordan Ridley. He's done his hamstring, which is just, I don't know, like, it's so annoying. That's the thing that I just hate most about this game, seeing Ridley on the bench again. It's just, I don't know. I don't even really care about what it means for the defence, because, our defence is going to be absolutely cooked to end the year. It is just tough seeing Ridley sidelined again. Like, this guy is such an important player, probably our most important after Merritt, and now it's gone to the stage where I'm questioning whether or not we persist with him, because he just can't stay fit. So, yeah, really tough night, tough weekend. I reckon the boys need to go out and give us some hope soon. We need a big performance before we all lose our minds. But yeah, let's get on to the votes. One vote to our skipper, Zach Merritt. He was pretty good, 30 touches, 7 tackles. I think he can hold his head high. I thought Redmond had some proper stinky moments, but overall was really strong for us. He was intercepting well when Ridley went down and managed to keep us steady for a fair bit. 3 votes to Sam Durham. I just thought he went in and gave it a crack. His work in the contest was awesome. He willed himself to win the footy and did it more often than not. He was really good. The role player, Jackson Pryor, I thought he was another who clearly gave a crap out there, and that's been the case for the last few weeks. Probably deserved some votes last week with the courageous marks, but we saw a bit more of him putting his body in compromising spots and winning the ball in the process. I thought he had a good game, but yeah, those are my votes. Tough night for votes, but yeah, I thought Sheil and Roberts were next up, but after that, can't think of anyone else who was any good. That is all. Cheers for watching, Bomber fans. I hope you are all finding good ways to stay sane, because I am struggling. Cheers for watching. Like, subscribe, and go Bombers.